Are you feeling stuck in your life right now? Do you look at where you are and wonder how to take the next step forward? The answer might be simpler than you think. What if you could improve yourself just 1% every day? Imagine what that would look like after a week, a month, or a year. It's not about making massive changes overnight. It's about taking small, intentional actions that build up over time and lead to massive growth. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how focusing on just 1% improvement each day can help you break through barriers, overcome obstacles, and transform your life. This is the kind of change that doesn't require drastic moves or sudden shifts. It's about progress, not perfection. Stick with me, and by the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap to start improving yourself every single day. Ready to make that change? Let's dive in. Chapter 1. Take responsibility for your growth and own your progress. There is a point in every person's life where something shifts. It doesn't always arrive loudly or with a dramatic scene. Sometimes it's quiet. A moment in front of the mirror. A second of stillness after a long day. A feeling in your gut that whispers the truth. You could be more. You know there's something inside you that isn't fully alive yet. And the reason you feel restless or stuck or drained is because you haven't truly taken ownership of your growth. You've let life happen to you, but the day you stop waiting for a sign and start creating your own direction, everything changes. That's where real self-improvement begins. That's where progress starts to unfold. It starts with you accepting full responsibility for your growth and refusing to leave your life in anyone else's hands. Most people want to change, but not everyone wants to take responsibility. It's easier to say you don't have time. It's more convenient to blame the world, your past, or your circumstances. But that won't move your life forward. Growth only begins when you accept that no one is coming to save you. There's no secret method, no shortcut, no perfect time. There's only now. And the longer you wait to take ownership of your progress, the more your potential sits unused. This chapter isn't about overwhelming you with tasks. It's about shifting the way you think. When you take responsibility for your life, everything becomes possible. You stop reacting to life and begin shaping it. You are where you are because of the choices you've made and the habits you've repeated. That doesn't mean you're to blame for everything that's happened to you, but you are the one who decides what happens next. You can't control the world, but you can control your focus, your response, your effort. That power is always yours. Too many people underestimate the influence they have over their own path. They forget that improvement is not a result of external change. It's a result of internal ownership. When you own your decisions, you stop complaining and start creating. You stop waiting for motivation and start acting on discipline. You stop living on autopilot and start leading your own life. If you want to grow, you need to be brutally honest with yourself. What are you avoiding? Where are you falling short? Where have you been making excuses instead of making progress? This level of honesty isn't comfortable, but it's necessary. You can't fix what you won't face. Most growth begins in the moments where you confront the truth about your habits, your focus, and your priorities. Maybe you've been too distracted. Maybe you've let other people's opinions influence your choices. Maybe you've been working hard, but not working smart. These are the things you must face without judgment. Not to punish yourself, but to take your power back. When you stop blaming the outside world, you take control of your inner world. And that's where change begins. You don't need a perfect plan to start growing. You just need a decision. A simple decision that says, I will no longer let my potential go to waste. From now on, I will take full ownership of where I am and where I'm going. You may not be where you want to be, but you are capable of moving forward starting today. The road to improvement isn't built overnight. It's shaped one choice at a time. Every decision to be disciplined when it's hard. Every moment you refuse to quit. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it. These are the building blocks of daily progress. You won't always feel motivated, but that's not what growth depends on. Growth depends on commitment. Growth depends on responsibility. Taking responsibility means you stop looking for someone else to push you. You become your own coach, your own driver, your own motivation. That doesn't mean you do everything alone. It means you stop expecting others to do it for you. It means you stop blaming the past for your current situation. It means you let go of the mindset that says you need permission to evolve. No one else needs to believe in you as much as you do. The responsibility is yours, and that's a good thing. That means you don't have to wait. You don't have to rely on anyone. You can start today. What does this look like in real life? It looks like setting your alarm, even when you'd rather sleep in. It looks like choosing the harder option that leads to long-term growth, instead of the easier option that leads to short-term comfort. It looks like learning from your failures, instead of hiding from them. It looks like doing the work even when no one is watching. These small actions matter more than you think, because every small choice is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. And when you take responsibility for those choices, you shape your own direction with purpose. No one is perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have days where you slip. But when you take responsibility, you don't let those days define you. You adjust. You reflect. You learn. And then you keep going. Growth isn't about never failing. It's about always rising. It's about having the mental strength to say, this isn't the end of my story. I can still move forward. That belief only comes when you fully own your progress. When you stop giving your power away. When you stop thinking life is happening to you and start realizing life is responding to you. A person who takes responsibility doesn't need to shout about it. They lead through their actions. You can see it in the way they show up, in the way they choose to stay calm under pressure, in the way they stay focused on what matters. When you take ownership of your life, you begin to lead yourself. And when you lead yourself, other areas of your life start improving too. Your confidence grows. Your discipline strengthens. Your sense of control increases. Because you are no longer drifting, you are driving. You are no longer a victim of your past. You are the architect of your future. The people who grow the most aren't the ones with the easiest lives. They're the ones who refuse to let their struggles define them. They turn pain into purpose. They turn pressure into fuel. And they do this by taking responsibility. Life won't always go the way you expect. But that doesn't mean you lose your power. When something hard happens, ask yourself, what can I control here? What can I learn from this? How can I respond in a way that makes me stronger? These questions bring clarity. They remind you that your growth isn't determined by what happens. It's determined by how you respond to what happens. It's easy to compare your progress to others, but comparison is a distraction. What matters is whether you are doing better than you were yesterday. Are you more focused, more disciplined, more honest with yourself? These are the questions that create real improvement. Taking responsibility means focusing on your lane. It means putting your energy into what you can influence, instead of wasting it on what you can't. You're not here to compete with anyone else. You're here to become your best self. And that journey begins the moment you choose to take full ownership of it. When you commit to taking responsibility, you begin to notice patterns. You see how often you get distracted. You recognize the habits that hold you back. You realize how many of your limitations are self-imposed. This awareness is powerful, because once you see the problem, you can start building the solution. Taking responsibility is not about being hard on yourself, it's about being real with yourself. You don't grow by pretending everything is fine. You grow by facing what isn't working and deciding to change it. That's what separates the people who improve from the people who stay stuck. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait for someone to push you. Don't wait for your situation to change. You are not waiting. You are acting. The more you own your life, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the more capable you become. You're not meant to stay the same. You're not meant to just survive. You're meant to evolve. And that evolution starts with one decision. I will take full responsibility for my growth. There will be people who doubt you. There will be days when progress feels invisible. But if you stay consistent, if you keep choosing to take ownership, your life will change. You won't see it all at once, but you'll feel it. In the way you carry yourself, in the way you handle difficulty, in the way you stay focused on what matters. That strength is built through responsibility. That clarity comes from commitment. So don't overthink the next step. Just start. Start by owning your habits. Start by owning your focus. Start by owning your energy. You may not know where the road will lead, but you know how to take the first step. And that's what matters. It's not about being perfect. It's about being committed. Every day you take responsibility, you get better. Every day you take ownership, you become stronger. That is how you improve yourself. 1% every day, by choosing to be the person who leads your life, not the one who waits for life to change. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need ideal conditions to improve. You just need the will to start and the strength to keep going. And both of those live inside you already. The future you want is waiting, but it's not in some distant place. It's built by what you do today. And it all starts the moment you take full responsibility for your growth and own your progress, completely, fully, without excuses. Now move forward, one step at a time. Own your path. Own your effort. Own your growth. Every single day. Chapter 2. Commit to daily habits that compound over time. You are one habit away from becoming someone you no longer recognize in the best possible way. That's the truth most people overlook. They wait for some massive shift, some miracle event, some big opportunity to show up and change their life. But what actually changes your life? It's the small, consistent actions you repeat every single day. It's the quiet disciplines that no one sees. The habits you commit to when motivation disappears and the world isn't watching. That's where the real transformation happens. That's where your life begins to change, not in sudden breakthroughs, but in the compounding effect of daily action. Most people don't change because they don't commit. They start and stop. They move in and out. They dabble, and when things get hard or progress slows down, they give up. But success, growth, mastery, none of it comes from dabbling. It comes from devotion, from doing what needs to be done even when it's not exciting. Especially when it's not exciting. Daily habits are not glamorous. They're not loud or dramatic. But they are powerful, because what you do every day shapes who you become. Your future isn't shaped by what you occasionally do, it's shaped by what you consistently repeat. You need to stop chasing intensity and start building consistency. That's the only way you'll build something that lasts. Anyone can push hard for a day. Anyone can have one productive week. But can you keep going when there's no reward yet? Can you do it again when you feel tired? Can you show up and follow through on your commitments, even when nobody claps for you? That's where habits come in. Habits remove emotion from the equation. You don't have to feel like it. You just have to do it. When you make something a habit, you no longer need willpower every time. You just execute. Think about it. A drop of water doesn't break a rock because of force. It breaks it because of consistency. That's how your life will change, not with one giant leap, but with small repeated steps that never stop. Every time you stick to your routine, even when it's boring, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to be. You're building identity through repetition. If you read every day, you become a learner. If you train every day, you become disciplined. If you reflect every night, you become self-aware. Your habits are not just things you do, they're statements about who you are becoming. But here's where most people go wrong. They try to do too much too fast. They overwhelm themselves with unrealistic expectations, and when they can't keep up, they quit. That's not how habits work. If you want lasting change, start small. Build momentum, not pressure. 1 page a day, 10 minutes of exercise, a simple to-do list every morning. It's not about how much you do, it's about doing something every day without fail. That's how habits stick. That's how momentum builds. You don't need to sprint, you just need to stop stopping. And the beauty of daily habits is this: they compound. That means even the smallest actions, when repeated consistently, grow into something massive over time. You don't notice it at first. It feels slow, almost invisible. But if you stay committed, something powerful happens. Day by day, your identity starts to shift. You go from someone who wants change to someone who creates change. And then one day, you look back and realize you're not the same person anymore. You've built something no one can take away from you: inner strength, self-discipline, and real momentum. The hardest part isn't starting a habit, it's sticking with it when life gets messy. When you're stressed, tired, distracted. That's when the average person quits. But that's also when transformation happens. Because if you can stick to your habits during chaos, you become unshakable. You learn to be consistent not just when life is easy, but especially when life is hard. That's where mental toughness is built. That's where character is formed. Not in perfect conditions, but in persistence through the imperfect. You'll have days where your energy is low. You'll have moments where progress feels slow or meaningless. But the secret is to keep going anyway. That's how winners are made. They keep moving forward when others stall. They show up when others disappear. Because they've learned something most people never understand. Habits are your anchor. They keep you grounded when your emotions want to pull you in every direction. When you don't know what to do, go back to your habits. When everything feels out of control, return to your routine. That's your foundation. That's your power. Don't underestimate what one committed habit can do for your life. One habit done well can create a ripple effect. A morning routine can set the tone for your entire day. A journaling practice can change the way you think. A workout schedule can transform your body and discipline. These aren't just tasks, they're training. Every time you follow through, you're building integrity with yourself. And when you trust yourself, you stop breaking promises to yourself. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop making excuses. You become someone you respect. Look at the person you admire most. The one who seems unstoppable, focused, grounded. They didn't get there by accident. They built it one habit at a time. Behind every strong person is a boring, disciplined routine. And they don't rely on motivation. They rely on systems, because systems remove decision fatigue. When you know what you need to do every day, there's less room for distraction. You don't have to wonder, you just do. And over time, that builds something far more powerful than intensity ever could. It builds consistency. The truth is, your life is a reflection of your habits. If you're not happy with where you are, look at what you're doing every day, not what you're dreaming about. Not what you say you want, what you actually do, because your actions are the only evidence of your priorities. If you're serious about change, you need to get serious about your habits. Track them, protect them, respect them, because every habit is a step toward your future, or away from it. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. That's why goals alone aren't enough. A goal is a direction. A habit is the path, and if you don't commit to the path, the destination will always stay out of reach. So focus on your process. Show up for it. Repeat it. Improve it. Trust that if you stay consistent, the results will come. They may not show up in a week, but give it a year, and your life will be unrecognizable. There will be moments where your mind tells you it doesn't matter. That skipping one day won't hurt. But that's the lie that breaks momentum. One missed day becomes 2, then 3, then you're back at 0. Don't let that happen. Protect your habits like they're sacred. Because they are. They're the seeds of your future. And if you water them every day, they'll grow, even when you can't see the results yet. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. And the more you practice it, the stronger it gets. That's the compound effect. You don't just improve at the habit, you improve at being the kind of person who keeps going. And that changes everything. You stop falling apart when things get hard. You stop getting derailed by temporary setbacks. You become consistent, stable, and focused. You become someone you can rely on. And that trust in yourself, that's the real win. So ask yourself, what habit, if I committed to it every day, would change my life? Don't pick 10 things. Pick one that matters, one that aligns with the future you want, and then build it into your routine so deeply that missing it feels unnatural. That's how you create real change. Not by doing everything at once, but by mastering one habit at a time and letting the momentum carry you forward. People talk about self-improvement like it's a motivational event, but it's not. It's a daily choice. A choice to stay in the process. A choice to keep showing up. A choice to do the boring work, the hard work, the invisible work. That's what growth looks like. It's not flashy. It's not always fun, but it works. Because every day you commit to your habits, you're proving to yourself that you can be trusted. And that trust becomes the foundation of an unshakable life. This is how you build something that lasts. This is how you become someone you're proud of. Not by waiting for the right time, or the perfect mood, or the ideal conditions, but by committing to habits that grow you, by trusting in the compound effect, by doing the work no one sees, and believing that in time, it will pay off. So now the choice is yours. Will you stay where you are, comfortable but stagnant, or will you step into the process, knowing that every small action compounds into something great? Don't let today be just another day. Make it the day you decide, the day you commit, the day you start building the habits that will change your life forever. Start with one. Make it non-negotiable. Then stack another, and another. Let your habits build your future, brick by brick, day by day. Because the life you want, it's not found in grand gestures. It's built in the small, consistent steps you take when no one's watching. That's how you improve yourself. That's how you rise. That's how you win. Chapter 3. Break your goals into smaller, manageable, actionable tasks. You don't fail because your dreams are too big. You fail because your plan is too vague. That's the trap so many people fall into. They set bold, exciting goals. They feel the rush of possibility, and then nothing happens. Weeks pass, months go by, and their dream just sits there, untouched. Not because they didn't want it badly enough, not because they weren't capable, but because they never broke it down. They never transformed that massive mountain into small, climbable steps. And without those steps, the mountain always feels too high. Let me say this clearly. The reason your goals feel overwhelming isn't because they're impossible. It's because you're trying to leap from where you are to the finish line in one jump. And when that leap feels out of reach, your mind shuts down. You procrastinate. You get distracted. You doubt yourself. But the real problem isn't your ambition, it's your strategy. You haven't given your mind a map. And without a map, even the strongest motivation will eventually fade. You have to stop looking at the goal as one massive task. You have to break it into pieces. Think of your goal as a puzzle. You don't finish a puzzle by staring at the picture on the box. You do it one piece at a time. That's how progress is made, by focusing not on the whole picture, but on the piece you can place right now. If you want to write a book, stop thinking about the whole book. Start with the first paragraph. If you want to build a business, stop obsessing over your future brand. Start with one product, one service, one sale. Make your goals real by making them small. You see, clarity destroys overwhelm. When your next step is clear and simple, your brain doesn't resist it. It knows what to do. But when your goal is abstract, your brain rebels. It doesn't know where to start. That's why you freeze. That's why you stall. The key is to shrink the goal until action becomes effortless, until the next move feels obvious, until there's zero confusion. This isn't just productivity advice. It's psychological truth. Your brain craves completion. It gets a dopamine hit when you finish things. So give yourself tasks that can be finished. Don't write "build a business" on your to-do list. Write "research 3 competitors." Write "set up an Instagram page." Write "create 1 product description." These are concrete, actionable, doable, and when you finish them, you feel progress. That feeling fuels your momentum, and momentum, once built, is unstoppable. Most people underestimate the power of small tasks. They think only the big leaps matter, but success is built on tiny wins. When you complete a small task, you build confidence. You tell your brain, "I can do this." And the more you stack those wins, the more your self-belief grows. Suddenly what once felt impossible starts to feel natural. That's the magic of breaking things down. It doesn't just help you get more done, it helps you become someone who gets things done. Think back to a time you felt stuck on a big goal. What held you back? It probably wasn't fear, it was lack of clarity. You didn't know where to begin. That's why the first task matters so much. It doesn't have to be the perfect task, it just has to be real. Action breeds clarity. Once you move, you see more clearly. But you'll never see the whole staircase from the bottom. You have to start climbing. You have to trust that the next step will appear once you take the first one. Let's be honest, we live in a world that glamorizes the big picture. Everyone talks about vision boards, manifesting the dream, thinking big, and sure, vision matters. But it's not what moves the needle. What changes your life is execution, and execution lives in the small steps, in the 5-minute tasks, in the daily grind. That's the stuff that builds empires, changes lives, transforms minds. So don't worship the dream, build the system. Don't idolize the outcome, fall in love with the process. Start asking yourself a new kind of question. Instead of asking, how do I achieve my goal? Ask, what's the next smallest action I can take toward it? That question will shift your entire mindset. It will pull you out of paralysis. It will remove the pressure, because now you're not trying to figure out everything. You're just trying to do something, and doing something, no matter how small, is always better than waiting for the perfect moment. Here's a truth you need to swallow. Perfect plans don't matter if you never start. And most people never start because they're trapped in complexity. They think they need to figure out the entire journey before they take the first step. But that's backwards. The journey unfolds as you walk it. You learn by doing. You adjust by experimenting. Your strategy improves through action, not thought. So simplify it. Pick one task. Do it. Then pick another. Every major achievement you admire was once just a collection of small steps repeated consistently. Think about the author who writes a bestseller. She didn't write it in one sitting. She sat down every day, sometimes with doubt, sometimes with no inspiration, and just wrote a little. The athlete who becomes a champion didn't wake up elite. He practiced, repeatedly, with focus, with discipline, with consistency. One drill at a time, one workout at a time, one habit at a time. That's how mastery is built. That's how dreams are realized. So why are you waiting to feel ready? Why are you waiting for certainty? Stop trying to conquer the mountain all at once. Just focus on the next rock in front of you. Climb that. Then look for the next one. That's the mindset of progress. That's how you beat procrastination. That's how you reclaim your momentum. The human brain is wired to avoid pain and seek reward. So if your goals feel painful, if they seem too far, too hard, too vague, you'll resist them. But when you shrink the task and bring the reward closer, your brain leans in. You create a sense of satisfaction. You build psychological safety. You're not trying to tackle the impossible. You're just knocking out something simple, and that simplicity creates traction. This is also how you build resilience. Because when you focus on what you can do today, you stop being overwhelmed by what you can't control. You learn to control the controllables. You learn to win in the now. And those wins add up. Day by day, they stack, they multiply. Until one day, the big goal that once felt out of reach is now behind you. Not because you jumped to it, but because you walked to it. With purpose, with precision, with patience. Look at your current goals. Now ask yourself, what's stopping you? If it feels too big, you haven't broken it down enough. If it feels too vague, you haven't clarified it. If it feels too hard, you're probably looking at the end instead of the beginning. So flip your focus. Stop obsessing over the destination. Start committing to the path. And the path is built one small action at a time. Let me give you a simple truth. Consistency beats intensity. One small task done daily will outperform one massive task done once. That's not just theory, it's reality. The tortoise beats the hare. The builder who lays one brick a day eventually finishes the house. The runner who jogs every morning outpaces the sprinter who burns out. Life rewards the steady. It rewards the focused. It rewards the ones who break things down and keep showing up. You don't need a new plan. You need to work the plan. You don't need better motivation. You need better execution. And execution only happens when you make things simple. So simplify it. Take your biggest, most exciting goal and break it down until it feels ridiculously easy. Then do the first part. Just that. Don't think 5 steps ahead. Just do this one. Then reward yourself. Then do the next. And when the resistance creeps in, and it will remind yourself, I don't need to finish this today. I just need to move forward. That mindset will save you. It will protect your momentum. It will keep you grounded when things feel chaotic, because forward is forward, and progress is progress. No matter how small, you are far more capable than you think. But capability only becomes visible through action. The longer you wait, the more doubt creeps in. The more you move, the more belief grows. So stop analyzing. Stop hesitating. Start breaking things down. Start simplifying. Start acting. That's how lives change, not with grand gestures, but with daily, deliberate, focused effort. Now here's what I want you to do. Look at one goal you've been delaying. Don't overthink it. Just pick one. Now write down the first small task you can do today to move toward it. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today, even if it's tiny, even if it feels insignificant. Then do it, and tomorrow, do the next one. Watch how it feels to finish things. Watch how your belief grows. Watch how your identity starts to shift. Because the truth is, you don't need to do everything. You just need to do something. Over and over. Until it compounds. Until it transforms. Until you become the kind of person who follows through. That's who you're meant to be. And that version of you, they don't wait for perfect. They don't fear the mountain. They just take the next step. So take yours, right now. Don't leave this video inspired but unchanged. Let it move you into action. Break the cycle of hesitation. Break your goals down, and then break them open. Chapter 4. Cultivate a mindset of resilience to overcome setbacks. Some of the greatest versions of yourself will only be unlocked after life breaks you, and you choose to rise anyway. That's when everything changes. Not when things are smooth, not when it all goes to plan, but when it falls apart, and you decide to fight forward with nothing but grit in your soul and purpose in your eyes. That's resilience. That's what transforms pain into power. Everyone wants success, but few are ready for the weight of the setbacks that come with it. They hit you when you least expect it. You lose someone, you fail publicly, you get rejected, overlooked, embarrassed, pushed down. You start questioning everything, your path, your worth, your strength. But here's what no one tells you. Those moments are the doorway. Those are the tests that decide who stays average and who becomes unshakable. Not because life suddenly gets easier, but because you choose to get stronger. You have to stop seeing setbacks as signs that you're not good enough. They're not roadblocks, they're resistance. And resistance is what builds strength. If your path had no resistance, you'd never grow. You'd remain soft, unchallenged, unproven. And if you want to live a life that matters, you need to be proven. You need to become someone who doesn't shatter when life punches you in the face. You need to become someone who looks at the hit and says, I'm still standing. There is no strength without struggle. There is no resilience without adversity. You're not broken because you've suffered. You're built through it. You're not weak because you feel pain. You're real. And being real is what makes you powerful, because it means you haven't run from the hard stuff. You're facing it, walking through it, bleeding in it if you have to. And that's how you rise. Let me make this clear. Resilience isn't about pretending nothing affects you. It's about learning how to feel the pain, but not surrender to it. It's about falling to your knees, gasping for air, and still whispering, I'm not done. That's resilience. It's not loud, it's not pretty, but it's real. And if you want to overcome what's standing in your way, you must develop that mindset. Setbacks don't ruin you, they reveal you, they show you who you are under pressure. They show you whether you're in it just for the glory, or whether you're willing to endure the storm. And if you're serious about becoming someone unbreakable, you need to stop expecting life to cooperate. Life doesn't owe you ease. It gives you obstacles. And those obstacles are invitations to level up, to grow deeper, to become something more than you were yesterday. You have to stop looking at pain as punishment. Pain is the training ground. It's where your true strength gets developed. When life hits you hard, and you get back up anyway, you're building something no shortcut can give you. You're building inner armor. And that armor is forged through fire, through days when you want to give up, through nights when no one understands your struggle, through moments when it all feels like too much, and you still show up. That's the difference. Most people let their emotions dictate their discipline. When they're tired, they quit. When they're discouraged, they withdraw. But if you want to rise, you need to do the opposite. You act regardless of how you feel. That's how you reclaim your power. You train your mind to do what's necessary. Even when your feelings scream for escape, you will lose. You will make mistakes. You will fall short. That's part of the journey, but you get to choose what that means. You can let it define you, or you can let it refine you. You can tell yourself, this setback proves I'm not enough. Or you can say, this is part of the process. This is where I learn. This is how I grow. The story you tell yourself after the fall is more important than the fall itself. That's what shapes your identity. Think about it. When has life really taught you the most? Was it when everything was smooth and comfortable, or was it when you were hurting, doubting, struggling, and still decided to move forward? The strongest parts of you were born in the moments that felt impossible. So don't run from them. Don't numb them. Embrace them. Lean into them, because those moments are sharpening you into the person you were always meant to be. You can't develop resilience by reading about it. You can't gain it from motivational quotes. It's earned, day by day, through choices, through effort, through moments where you feel broken and keep going anyway. And each time you do, you prove something to yourself. You prove you can be trusted with adversity. You prove you're not controlled by your circumstances. You prove you are more powerful than anything trying to break you. But don't mistake resilience for perfection. You will have moments of doubt. You will get tired. That's human. Resilience doesn't mean you never feel weak. It means you never let that weakness win. You may cry, but you get up. You may pause, but you keep going. You may bend, but you never break. And over time you stop being afraid of setbacks. You start seeing them as stepping stones. Let me speak to that version of you that wants to give up. I know what it feels like to be exhausted, to put your heart into something and watch it fall apart, to try your best and still come up short. But hear me, your current challenge is not your final chapter. This isn't the end, this is the test. This is where you decide whether you're serious about becoming your best self or just pretending. This is the fire that forges the next version of you. You want mental toughness. Then do the hard thing, again and again. Get used to doing it when no one cheers for you. When there's no praise, no applause. Just you versus your excuses. You versus your old identity. You versus your fear. That's the arena. And when you keep showing up in that arena, you earn the right to call yourself resilient. Some people wait their whole lives to feel ready, to feel confident, but real confidence comes after the struggle, not before. It comes from doing what scares you, from pushing past resistance, from walking through failure without letting it define you. So stop waiting for your circumstances to change. Change your mindset. Cultivate resilience like a muscle. Train it daily. Challenge it intentionally. Own your story, especially the messy chapters. You are not your failures. You are what you choose to do with them. And you have a choice today to shrink back or to lean forward, to make excuses or to rise anyway. Every setback is a setup for your next breakthrough. If you don't quit, if you refuse to see yourself as a victim, if you decide that no matter how hard it gets, you will keep walking. There is strength in showing up broken. There is power in continuing, even when nothing makes sense. That's what separates those who only dream from those who become legends. They don't quit in the dark. They walk through it, because they know what's on the other side is worth every scar. They know pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. So ask yourself, what are you made of? What kind of person do you want to become? One who cracks under pressure, or one who looks pressure in the face and says, I've been through worse? You have that power. You just need to claim it. To lean into the hard times, to stop hiding from the struggle, and start using it. Your mind is your greatest weapon, or your greatest enemy, depending on how you train it. If you keep telling yourself you can't handle adversity, you never will. But if you train your thoughts to see setbacks as opportunities, you become unstoppable. You start walking into challenges, not with fear but with focus, not with weakness, but with willpower. Resilience is not reserved for the gifted. It's built through repeated action, through failing forward, through being brave enough to try again when everything inside you says don't. That's where the transformation happens, not in comfort, but in confrontation, with life, with failure, with yourself. So what are you going to do now? Stay stuck in self-pity, or rise into power? Keep replaying the setback, or rewrite the narrative? You've got scars. Good. They mean you fought. They mean you didn't quit. Now turn them into strength. Let them remind you of how far you've come. Let them fuel the fire inside you that refuses to be put out. You're here for a reason. You've survived things that could have broken you. You've made it this far for a purpose. Don't let that go to waste. Use it. Let your story be proof that setbacks don't define people. Resilience does. Let every challenge strengthen your core, sharpen your focus, and deepen your belief that you are capable of anything you commit to. This is your moment. Not when you're winning. Not when everything's easy. Right now, in the middle of your storm. This is where you decide what kind of life you're going to live. One where every hardship stops you, or one where every hardship strengthens you. Choose strength. Choose movement. Choose resilience. And when it gets hard again, and it will, remember this, you're not the same person you were before. You've grown. You've risen. You've built something inside you that can't be taken away. A spirit that refuses to back down. A mindset that will carry you forward, no matter what life throws your way. Now go. Face the next challenge, like the warrior you're becoming. Don't wait for the world to believe in you. Show it. Prove it. One unbreakable step at a time. Chapter 5. Track your progress to stay focused and motivated. The fastest way to lose your hunger, your direction, and your belief in yourself is to move forward without ever seeing how far you've come. Every day you wake up with goals in your heart, pressure on your shoulders, and a mind filled with expectations. But what happens when you can't see the progress? What happens when you work in silence, give it your all, push past every distraction, and yet nothing feels different? That's when doubt creeps in. That's when people quit, not because they can't reach their goals, but because they think nothing is changing. They stop, Not from failure, but from blindness to their own growth. And that's why tracking your progress isn't just helpful, it's essential. You need proof. You need visible evidence that your hard work is leading somewhere, and it's not for the world, it's for your mind. Your motivation is tied to momentum, and momentum is built by acknowledging your steps, even the small ones. Most people are stuck in cycles of starting and stopping because they're only chasing the big outcome. They don't see the daily wins, the quiet growth, the invisible battles they're winning. But here's the truth: what gets measured gets respected, and what gets respected gets repeated. You can't control the entire future. You don't know how long the journey will take, but you can control the present. You can track what you're doing today. And when you do, your mind begins to cooperate with your vision. Instead of saying, "I'm not there yet," you start saying, "I'm moving forward." Instead of saying, "This isn't working," you begin seeing exactly what is. And that shift changes everything. It gives you clarity. It gives you control. It gives you hope. There's something powerful that happens when you write down your progress. It's not just about data, it's about identity. Every time you track a win, you reinforce the message: I follow through, I'm consistent, I show up. That's how you build belief. That's how you start becoming the person you're chasing. Not in theory, but in action. You don't need more motivation. You need more awareness of your discipline. And you can only see that by tracking it. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. They get discouraged because they don't see instant change. But the truth is, transformation is subtle. It's built in quiet moments, in private decisions, in disciplined repetition. When you start documenting your steps, your perspective changes. You stop being a prisoner of your feelings and start becoming a student of your growth. You don't have to feel motivated to keep going. You just have to see that you're making progress. The mind gets hungry when it sees results. But you won't see results if you're not paying attention. If you don't know how you started, how will you know how far you've come? If you don't measure your habits, how will you fix them? If you don't celebrate small victories, how will you ever stay patient through the big ones? Start simple. Track your actions, not just your goals. Record the workout, not just the weight loss. Log the hours studied, not just the exam score. Write down the days you showed up, not just the outcomes. Because when you focus on what you can control, your confidence rises. You stop living in the future and start owning the present. And here's the truth: progress is addictive. The more you track, the more you want to stay consistent. It creates a loop. Action leads to proof. Proof leads to belief. Belief fuels more action. And suddenly, the things you used to avoid become the things you're proud to do. Your habits stop feeling like chores and start becoming part of your identity. That's the power of awareness. That's what tracking does. It turns chaos into clarity. You're not lazy. You're just not measuring your momentum. You're not lost. You just haven't documented your path. And once you start, everything shifts. The excuses get quieter. The distractions lose their power, because now you're connected to something real, something measurable. You're not just hoping to change. You're watching yourself do it. People who track their growth don't burn out as easily. Why? Because they see the story unfolding. They understand that every day is part of a bigger picture. They have context. They have perspective. And when you have that, you can suffer longer. You can fight harder. You can endure failure without feeling like a failure. Because you know this isn't the end. It's just another chapter. You need to stop letting your emotions decide your discipline. Your feelings will lie to you. They'll tell you, this isn't working. But your log, your journal, your data, those won't lie. That's the truth. That's the mirror. And sometimes the mirror is brutal. It shows you where you're falling short. But it also shows you what you're doing right. And you need both. You need the feedback. You need the pattern. You need to know whether you're repeating mistakes or reinforcing progress. You don't need a perfect system. You just need a consistent one. You can use paper, an app, a whiteboard. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you commit to the process of reflection. Every day, review what you did. Ask yourself, did I show up? Did I stay focused? Did I move forward? These aren't questions to shame you. They're questions to sharpen you. Tracking your progress also rewires your brain. It trains your focus. You start seeing opportunities instead of obstacles. You begin noticing habits instead of distractions. You become solution-oriented instead of reactive. Because now, instead of living in loops of frustration, you're living in loops of feedback, and feedback is fuel. This is how high performers stay driven. They're not superhuman. They're just aware. They know what works. They know what doesn't. And they don't rely on memory. They rely on measurement. That's why they adjust faster. That's why they pivot smarter. That's why they win longer. They don't guess their way through life. They track it. They learn from it. They own it. And so can you. You want to stay focused. Then give your mind a scoreboard. You want to stay motivated. Then stop waiting for results and start measuring effort. You want to build belief. Then prove to yourself every single day that you're doing the work. Because when the results are far away, your records remind you that you're still becoming. There is no such thing as wasted effort, if you're learning from it. There is no such thing as slow progress, if you're documenting it. You're not falling behind. You're just in a longer chapter. But if you stop tracking, you'll convince yourself that nothing is changing. And that's when people self-sabotage. They give up on Chapter 8, never realizing that Chapter 9 is the breakthrough. You need to remember why you started. You need to track how far you've come. You need to hold yourself accountable in the dark, because no one else will. People may not see your progress. They may not applaud your habits. But that's okay. Your focus isn't on impressing others. It's on becoming the best version of yourself. And the best version of you isn't built in fantasy. It's built in facts. Real, raw, measurable steps. There is power in documenting your evolution. There is pride in seeing your own consistency. There is energy in realizing, I've done more than I thought. And that feeling, that's how you keep going when motivation dies. That's how you push through doubt. That's how you stay focused when the path gets blurry. Look at your habits. Measure your mindset. Count the days you refuse to quit. Collect the evidence. Build the proof. And when life tries to convince you that you're stuck, show it the records. Show it the days you didn't give up. Show it the hours you invested in silence. Because all those moments, they matter. They're shaping you, even if no one sees them. And one day, they'll look back and call you lucky. They'll say, you're so talented. They'll have no idea it was just daily effort, tracked and repeated, over and over, until it turned into transformation. So if you're tired, track. If you're discouraged, track. If you feel lost, track. Don't just try harder. Get clearer. Don't just wish for growth. Prove it. Step by step, day by day. Progress isn't loud. It's quiet. But when you track it, it starts to speak. And when it speaks, you'll start to believe again. This is your wake-up call. Stop drifting. Start documenting. Stop guessing. Start measuring. This is how you build unstoppable focus. This is how you turn motivation into momentum. And this is how you win, by staying present, staying aware, and staying connected to the work that's changing you. Track it all. The good days, the bad ones, the wins, the mistakes. Let it all be part of your story. Let it all remind you, you are not stuck, you are not finished, you are not lost, you're building. Now take the next step. Write it down, record it, log the effort, stay focused, stay hungry, and above all, never stop showing yourself what's possible when you refuse to stop tracking who you're becoming. Chapter 6. Prioritize learning from mistakes to continuously evolve. You will never become the person you're meant to be if you're still ashamed of the mistakes that were meant to teach you. We live in a world where people pretend they're perfect, where everyone posts their highlight reels and hides their failures behind filters. But real growth, it doesn't live in comfort. It lives in the mess. It lives in the wrong decisions, the failed attempts, the risks that didn't work out. And until you learn how to face your mistakes without fear, without shame, without running, you will stay stuck in the same patterns, reliving the same problems, and wondering why nothing changes. Here's the truth. Mistakes aren't your enemy. They are the blueprint. They are the feedback. They are the proof that you're trying, evolving, becoming. Every time you fall, life is giving you a clue about who you were, who you are, and who you have the power to become. But most people never learn the lesson. They get embarrassed. They get defensive. They try to erase the past instead of examining it. And that's why they keep repeating the same choices, living in cycles, blaming the world for what they refuse to face within themselves. You want to grow? Then you have to be brave enough to look directly at your own flaws and ask, what was this trying to teach me? Not why did this happen to me, but what am I supposed to learn from it? Because if you don't turn your mistakes into meaning, you'll turn them into self-hate. And nothing kills your potential faster than hating the very experiences that were meant to shape you. You can't evolve if you're still running from who you used to be. You can't become wiser if you're still trying to be flawless. The people who grow the most aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who take responsibility for it, sit with the discomfort, and extract every ounce of truth they can. Because wisdom isn't something you read in a book, it's something you earn in the aftermath of your hardest moments. Think about it. Every time you made a mistake, every time you hurt someone, broke your own word, chose comfort over discipline, reacted instead of responding, there was a deeper reason behind it. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was insecurity. Maybe it was pain you hadn't processed. But if you never slow down long enough to ask, you'll never break the pattern. You'll just dress it up in new circumstances and keep repeating it with different faces and situations, hoping for a different outcome that never comes. That's the trap. That's how people waste years, by refusing to do the internal audit. They think time will heal them, but time doesn't heal what you don't face. Time just buries it deeper, and then it shows up again, disguised as a new opportunity, sabotaged by the same old behavior. Learning from your mistakes is not about obsessing over the past. It's about examining it without judgment, looking at it with eyes that want truth, not just comfort. And it's hard. It's painful, but it's necessary. Because nothing changes until you own your role in it. Growth starts where blame ends, and healing begins when honesty steps in. You might be carrying guilt from years ago, something you said, something you didn't do, someone you hurt, a dream you gave up on. But guilt without growth is just punishment. And you don't need more punishment. You need purpose. You need to turn those moments into movement. You need to say, yes, I did that. But here's what I've learned. Here's who I've become because of it. Here's what I'll never do again. That's power. You don't have to be perfect to evolve. You just have to be willing to reflect, to slow down, to dissect the behavior, not destroy yourself over it. To say, this isn't who I want to be, and then do the work to become better. Not for anyone else, but for you. Because, at the end of the day, this is your life, and every mistake you've made has brought you to this moment of awareness. That awareness is your weapon. Use it. Most people get stuck in cycles because they only focus on the surface. They focus on the symptom, not the cause. You say you procrastinate. But why? You say you lose discipline. But when? You say you keep ending up in toxic relationships. But what are you drawn to? And what inside you is still unhealed? Until you start asking the hard questions, you'll keep living the same life with different labels. You don't evolve by reading more books. You evolve by living more honestly. You evolve by confronting the parts of you that are still wounded. The decisions that came from fear instead of clarity. The moments when you betrayed yourself for validation. These are not weaknesses. These are mirrors. And if you're brave enough to face them, they will guide you toward the next version of yourself. Stop trying to be impressive. Start trying to be real. Because the people who impress you the most, they've failed more times than they can count. But they turned every failure into fuel. They used every mistake as a stepping stone. They chose to study the fall, not hide from it. And that's why they rise. Again and again. That's why they keep evolving. Because they keep learning. Ask yourself, what are you pretending not to see? What part of your past still owns you because you never examined it? What mistakes are you still ashamed of that could become your greatest lessons if you stopped judging them and started learning from them? This is not about reliving pain. It's about repurposing it. It's about saying, this broke me, but it also woke me up. It's about turning regret into resolve, shame into self-awareness, mistakes into milestones. Because once you start doing that, you stop fearing failure. And when you stop fearing failure, you become unstoppable. You become someone who doesn't just survive setbacks. You extract strength from them. You become someone who can look anyone in the eye and say, yes, I've been through it, but I grew through it, and I'm still growing. That's rare. That's rare. That's real. And that's the kind of character that doesn't just chase success but sustains it. Life will test you. It will humble you. It will knock you down when you least expect it. But your job isn't to avoid the fall. Your job is to learn every single time you hit the ground. To rise a little sharper, a little stronger, a little more aware. That's what it means to evolve. Not perfection, not comfort, but continuous refinement. So let go of the shame. Let go of the fear of judgment. Let go of the lie that says you have to get it right the first time. You don't. You just have to stay awake. Stay honest. Stay open to learning. Because if you can do that, there's nothing in this life that can hold you back for long. Your past is not a prison. It's a classroom. Your failures are not your identity. They're your invitations to growth. Your mistakes are not signs that you're weak. They're evidence that you're trying. You're pushing. You're living. And as long as you're willing to learn, you are evolving, even when it doesn't feel like it. So stop hiding your mistakes. Own them. Study them. Use them. Because the next version of you is waiting. Not for perfection, but for reflection, for courage, for honesty. And if you're brave enough to keep learning, you'll be amazed at how far you can go. Now take that pain, take that regret, Take that failure and turn it into power. Turn it into purpose. Turn it into wisdom. You've already been through the hard part. Now do something with it. Learn, adapt, evolve, and never stop becoming the version of yourself that no mistake could ever destroy, only refine. Chapter 7. Build momentum by focusing on consistent small actions. You're one small action away from changing everything. You've been stuck in that place, wanting more, knowing deep down that you're capable of more, but still unsure how to break through. You've read the books, you've heard the advice, you've set the goals, but somehow it feels like you're always waiting for that moment when everything clicks, when you can finally push yourself forward with unstoppable force. But let me tell you something, that moment will never come, not the way you think it will. The key to creating lasting momentum is not a giant leap, it's 1,000 tiny steps that add up when you least expect it. There's a misconception that success is about huge breakthroughs. That one big moment when everything aligns and suddenly you're on the path to greatness. But real success, it's not a flash of brilliance. It's the steady, almost imperceptible momentum built by consistent action. It's what happens when you commit to showing up every single day, even when the results aren't immediately visible. It's about doing the work, not once, not twice, but relentlessly. Think about it. The greatest achievements in life aren't a result of a single extraordinary effort. They're built upon countless small actions that accumulate over time. Each day you wake up and do something that moves you closer to your goals, no matter how small. You are laying the foundation for something bigger. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It only needs to be consistent. You've heard the saying, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. It's simple, but it's true. And here's the thing, too many people get discouraged after that first step. They take it, they don't see immediate results, and they back off. But that's where the magic lies, in the moments that don't seem to matter. When you keep pushing forward, even when nothing spectacular happens, when you don't see immediate rewards, but you trust the process and keep going, that's where momentum is born. This isn't about being perfect. It's about making progress. You don't need to know how it's all going to unfold. You don't need to have everything figured out right now. What you need to do is focus on today. Focus on the small actions that you can take and commit to them with everything you've got. Because each small step forward adds weight to the momentum you're building. The hardest part is starting. But once you start, there's something that begins to happen inside of you. A shift, a fire that grows stronger with each action. You stop waiting for motivation to find you, and instead you realize that action is the secret to creating it. Every time you take action, even a tiny one, you feel that shift. It's like pushing a rock. At first it's heavy, and it feels like it's barely moving. But the more you push, the more it gains momentum, until eventually it starts rolling on its own. And when that happens, you'll find yourself in a state of unstoppable flow. Here's the thing, momentum doesn't come from one big move. It comes from the little things you do consistently, without needing instant gratification. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier each day. Maybe it's doing 10 push-ups every morning. Maybe it's making one phone call or sending one email that gets you closer to your goal. It's the compound effect of these small actions over time that creates something extraordinary. And the beauty of it, it's easy to start. It doesn't require massive energy. It doesn't require huge resources. It only requires your decision to do something today, to do something small, to take one step forward, no matter how insignificant it seems in the moment. Because when you look back, you'll realize that all those little steps built a foundation that you couldn't have built any other way. Think about how many people give up just when they're one step away from building momentum. They quit after they've taken only a few steps. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect circumstance, the perfect opportunity. But here's the truth. There is no perfect time. There is no perfect opportunity. The only moment you have is now. The only thing you control is what you do today. If you're waiting for inspiration to strike, you'll be waiting forever. Inspiration doesn't come from sitting around and hoping. It comes from action. It comes from building momentum. The more you act, the more you create the environment for inspiration to show up. The more you act, the more you learn, the more you grow, and the more capable you become. And that's what keeps the momentum rolling. Remember this, progress isn't always linear. Some days you'll feel like you're moving forward in leaps and bounds. Other days it will feel like you're barely inching ahead. But each small action, no matter how insignificant it feels in the moment, is adding to your momentum. Even the bad days count. Every mistake, every failure, every setback is simply part of the process. It's not a sign to stop. It's a signal to keep going. Because your momentum is being built, brick by brick, step by step. Here's a powerful way to think about it. Imagine your goal is a mountain, and at the base of that mountain, there's a boulder. You're standing in front of it, looking up at the summit, feeling overwhelmed by how big it seems. But instead of trying to push the entire boulder at once, you start with one small push. You give it just a little nudge. Then another, and another. Slowly but surely, the boulder begins to move. It doesn't move fast at first, but after enough nudges, after enough consistent effort, that boulder gains speed. It starts rolling. And then you're not pushing anymore. You're riding it, flowing with it, and moving forward faster than you ever thought possible. That's momentum. It's not about making giant leaps. It's about staying consistent, even when you can't see the immediate results. It's about focusing on the process, not just the outcome. The small actions you take today are what will carry you through the tough days ahead. And when you look back, you'll see that those small actions didn't just add up. They created a force that changed your life. The key is in focusing on the next small step. Don't get distracted by how far you have to go. Don't look at the entire mountain and let it overwhelm you. Just look at the next step. Focus on that small manageable task and take it. When you do, you'll be amazed at how much you accomplish without even realizing it. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for the day when everything clicks. Start now. Do the small things today that will set you up for bigger things tomorrow. Build your momentum one step at a time, and soon you'll look up and realize that the mountain you thought was impossible to climb, it's already behind you. Take that first step, take another, and then keep going. Because with every step, you're building momentum, and with momentum, there's nothing you can't accomplish. Chapter 8. Surround yourself with people who push you forward. The people you surround yourself with are either the fuel that powers your success or the anchors that keep you stuck. It's a truth most of us fail to recognize until we hit a wall or reach a breaking point. We all have dreams, we all have goals, but how many of us are surrounded by people who believe in those dreams as fiercely as we do? How many of us are supported by individuals who push us to be better every single day, challenge us to think bigger, and refuse to let us settle for anything less than our best? The truth is, the company you keep will shape who you become. It's a simple concept, but its power is often underestimated. Look around. Are the people in your life challenging you? Are they pushing you forward? Or are they holding you back, consciously or unconsciously? Because here's the harsh reality. If you want to grow, if you want to achieve something extraordinary, you cannot afford to be surrounded by people who are complacent, who are comfortable with mediocrity, or who are content with the status quo. It's easy to stay in your comfort zone, surrounded by people who tell you everything is fine just as it is. But here's the thing about comfort: it's the silent killer of growth. It lulls you into a state of complacency where you start to believe that what you're doing is enough. But deep down, you know it's not. You know there's more inside of you, you know you're capable of more, and yet, day after day, you stay in the same environment, surrounded by people who are just as comfortable being average as you are. So how do you break free? How do you escape the cycle of mediocrity and start creating the life you deserve? The answer is simple. You need to surround yourself with people who push you forward, people who demand more from you, people who won't let you settle for anything less than your absolute best. Let me be clear about something. This isn't about cutting people out of your life for the sake of it. It's about intentionality. It's about choosing to surround yourself with individuals who elevate you, inspire you, and challenge you to think beyond what you've always known. People who see your potential, even when you can't see it yourself. People who refuse to let you play small. Imagine what it would feel like to be in a room full of people who all want to see you succeed. Imagine being surrounded by individuals who are relentlessly pursuing their own goals, people who have the same fire and ambition that you do. These are the people who will push you forward. They won't let you make excuses. They won't let you settle for the bare minimum. They'll hold you accountable when you slack off, cheer you on when you feel discouraged, and challenge your thinking when you start to limit yourself. Now ask yourself this: how many people like that are in your life right now? And more importantly, how many of the people in your life are draining your energy, distracting you from your goals, or convincing you that settling for less is okay? Here's the reality: your growth is a reflection of the people you allow to influence you. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If those 5 people are playing small, if they are settling for mediocrity, then guess what? You'll do the same. It's not about them intentionally holding you back. It's about their energy and mindset being contagious. Energy spreads. Mindsets are contagious. And if you're surrounded by negativity, doubt, or complacency, it's only a matter of time before it starts to seep into your own life. But here's the flip side. If you surround yourself with people who have higher standards, people who believe in growth and constant improvement, people who hold themselves and others accountable to the highest level of excellence, you will start to operate at that same level. You'll raise your standards. You'll hold yourself to a higher level of performance. You'll be motivated by their example and inspired by their drive. Their energy will ignite yours, and before you know it, you'll be doing things you never thought possible. This isn't about comparison. It's about elevation. It's about rising together. When you surround yourself with high achievers, you start to see what's possible. You start to see the way they think, the way they work, the way they approach challenges and setbacks. You start to understand that success isn't about luck or talent. It's about the decisions you make every single day. And when you surround yourself with people who are making those decisions consciously, with intention, it forces you to do the same. But here's the catch: not everyone is going to be happy for you. Not everyone is going to support your growth. And that's okay. You have to learn to ignore the naysayers, the doubters, the people who want to keep you in your place. You have to be willing to distance yourself from the energy drains in your life and make room for the people who truly have your best interests at heart. It's not always easy. Sometimes it means letting go of relationships that are no longer serving you, but the cost of staying in those relationships, the cost of being surrounded by people who aren't aligned with your vision, is far greater than the discomfort of letting go. When you choose to surround yourself with people who push you forward, you are giving yourself the gift of growth. You are choosing to be challenged, to be stretched, to be held accountable. You are choosing to elevate your life by elevating your circle, and that is one of the most powerful decisions you can make for yourself. But it doesn't end there. Building a community of people who push you forward isn't just about choosing the right people. It's also about becoming that person for others. The energy you put out into the world is the energy you attract. So if you want to be surrounded by people who challenge and inspire you, you need to start being that person for others. You need to lead by example. You need to show up every day with a mindset of growth, with a willingness to push beyond your limits, and with a commitment to excellence. When you do this, you'll attract people who share your values and your drive. You'll attract people who want to be around you because they see that you're constantly striving to improve. You'll become the kind of person who not only benefits from the power of a supportive community, but who also contributes to the growth of others. And that's how momentum is built. That's how you create a life that's unstoppable. When you surround yourself with the right people, when you raise your standards, when you commit to constant growth, the world becomes your playground. There are no limits to what you can achieve when you have the right people by your side. So today, ask yourself, who am I surrounding myself with? Are they pushing me forward? Are they holding me accountable? Are they inspiring me to be better, to do more, to reach higher? And if the answer is no, then it's time to make a change. Surround yourself with people who will elevate you, who will challenge you, who will push you to become the best version of yourself. Because when you do, you will see just how powerful you can become. Your success is too important to be surrounded by anything less than greatness. Choose your circle wisely, and never settle for less than what you truly deserve. Chapter 9. Challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone. The moment you step outside your comfort zone is the moment your life begins to transform. You see, growth doesn't happen in a place of safety. It happens in the unknown. In the moments when you push past the boundaries you've set for yourself, when you embrace uncertainty, and when you challenge the very limits of what you thought was possible. But here's the catch. Stepping outside your comfort zone isn't just about taking a single bold step. It's about committing to a lifestyle of growth, to a mindset that thrives in discomfort, to the understanding that progress always requires risk. For most of us, comfort is a trap. It feels safe, secure, and predictable. It's the space where we don't have to face failure, where we don't have to deal with rejection, and where we can avoid the painful reality of not measuring up. But comfort is the silent enemy of growth. It's in these comfortable spaces that we start to settle. We stop striving. We stop dreaming big. We stop chasing the very things that once set our souls on fire. When was the last time you felt that fire? When was the last time you pushed yourself to the edge, tested your limits, and achieved something you once thought impossible? It's too easy to stay where it's safe, to stay in the routine you've built, to avoid the risk of failure. But let me tell you this, comfort kills your potential. It might seem scary, it might feel overwhelming, but the truth is, the more you challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone, the more you evolve into the person you're meant to be. Every step outside of your comfort zone is an investment in your future. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to discover new strengths, new abilities, and new perspectives you never knew you had. The discomfort you feel, that's the signal that growth is happening. Think about the times when you've really grown in your life. They're not the times when you've coasted through easy days, avoiding challenges. No, it's the times when you've been forced to rise above, to face fears, to push through self-doubt, and to keep moving even when the path ahead seemed unclear. Those moments of discomfort, of pushing your boundaries, are the moments that define you. And yet we tend to avoid them. We shy away from them because we fear failure, we fear making mistakes, and we fear the unknown. But here's the reality: failure is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. Mistakes are not a reflection of your worth. They are the stepping stones to your success. Every failure, every setback, is a lesson, a course correction that brings you closer to your ultimate goal. The more you step outside your comfort zone, the more you open yourself to the possibility of failure. And with that possibility comes the gift of learning, of evolving, of becoming someone who doesn't just survive in the face of adversity, but thrives because of it. Now, let's address something that stops most people from taking that first step: fear. Fear is a natural response when you're faced with something unknown. It's a survival mechanism trying to protect you from danger. But what most people don't realize is that fear isn't always a sign of danger. Sometimes it's simply a sign that you're on the verge of something great. Fear, when properly harnessed, can become a powerful motivator. Instead of letting it stop you, use it as fuel. Let it push you further, make you stronger, and drive you to do things you never thought possible. When you challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone, you will encounter fear. It's inevitable. But instead of running from it, you must lean into it. You must make the decision to act despite the fear, knowing that it's just a sign of your growth. The more you act in the face of fear, the more you desensitize yourself to it, and the more you train your mind to seek challenges instead of avoiding them. You become comfortable with discomfort, and that's when you start to experience real growth. Stepping outside your comfort zone also requires an important mindset shift: the understanding that failure is not final. We live in a world that often celebrates success and casts failure aside as something to be ashamed of. But this view is limiting. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of it. Every successful person, every great achiever has faced setbacks, challenges, and failures along the way. But they didn't let those setbacks define them. They used them as lessons, as opportunities to learn and grow, and they kept moving forward. Now let's talk about the power of momentum. When you step outside your comfort zone and take that first courageous step, you create momentum. It's the kind of momentum that carries you through the tough days, that pushes you to take bigger risks, and that inspires others to do the same. Every time you push past your fear and step into the unknown, you build a little more confidence, a little more strength, and a little more courage. Think about the first time you did something hard, something you didn't think you could do. Maybe it was a physical challenge, like running a race or lifting a heavy weight. Maybe it was a mental challenge, like taking on a new job or speaking in front of an audience. The first time is always the hardest, but once you push through, once you get to the other side, something amazing happens. You realize that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible, and that realization is what drives you forward. The more you challenge yourself, the more you develop this unstoppable momentum. It starts with one step, one decision, one moment where you choose to act despite the fear. And once you build that momentum, it becomes easier to take on bigger challenges, to go further, and to do more. You'll start to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You'll start to believe in yourself in ways you never have before. It's easy to stay where it's comfortable, but you weren't put on this earth to stay comfortable. You were put here to challenge yourself, to push your boundaries, and to become the best version of yourself. The life you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. It's out there in the unknown, in the places that scare you, in the challenges that make your heart race. So ask yourself, what are you avoiding? What have you been telling yourself is too hard, too risky, or too uncertain? Whatever it is, it's time to step into it. It's time to stop waiting for the perfect moment, for the fear to subside, or for the stars to align. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The only moment that matters is now. Step outside your comfort zone. Take that first step into the unknown. Embrace the fear, learn from the failures, build momentum, and keep pushing forward. Because the life you've always wanted is waiting for you on the other side. Don't let comfort hold you back. Take the step, challenge yourself, and watch as everything you've ever dreamed of becomes your reality. Chapter 10. Learn to embrace discomfort as a path to growth. Discomfort is the birthplace of growth. If you want to grow, you have to learn how to embrace it, no matter how it feels. You see, there's this misconception that growth should feel easy, that success should come with comfort and smooth sailing. But the truth is, the most profound growth happens when we push through the discomfort, when we decide to stop running from the things that challenge us, and instead lean into them with all we've got. The uncomfortable moments are the ones that shape you, redefine you, and push you to become something you never thought possible. Every time you face discomfort, you are presented with a choice. You can run, retreat into what's familiar, and protect yourself from the pain. Or you can stand tall and face the discomfort head-on, knowing that on the other side of it lies a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. This choice, as simple as it seems, is the defining moment in your journey toward growth. And here's the catch. The more you embrace discomfort, the more it becomes the key to unlocking your fullest potential. Imagine you're standing at the edge of something new, whether it's a career challenge, a personal goal, or a relationship. There's an undeniable feeling of discomfort in the pit of your stomach. You start to question whether you can handle it, whether you're capable, and whether it's worth it. But the thing is, discomfort isn't a sign to turn back. It's a sign that you're about to do something great. It's your body and mind's way of telling you that you're on the edge of something incredible. This is the moment when growth happens. When we're uncomfortable, our natural instinct is to shy away, to seek the familiar, the safe, and the comfortable. And that's completely understandable. No one wants to feel vulnerable or uncertain, but here's the power of discomfort. It forces you to become resourceful. It forces you to stretch beyond your current capabilities. And in that stretching you find new strengths, new resilience, and new possibilities that you didn't know existed. It's in the hardest moments, in the most uncomfortable situations, that we discover the truth about ourselves, that we are capable of so much more than we think. The discomfort you feel is not there to break you, it's there to build you. Every moment you push through discomfort, you are reprogramming your mind to accept that growth requires struggle. It's a muscle that you strengthen over time, just like any other. The more you embrace discomfort, the more resilient you become, and the more prepared you are for whatever challenges life throws your way. Take a moment and think about a time in your life when you grew the most. I'm willing to bet that it wasn't during a time of comfort. It was during a period of hardship, of uncertainty, or of pushing yourself past a limit you thought you had. Maybe it was during a career shift, or when you took on a responsibility you felt ill-prepared for. Maybe it was when you had to learn something new, or when you were faced with an obstacle that seemed insurmountable. The discomfort you felt at that time was not a barrier. It was a catalyst. Every great success story, every person who has achieved something extraordinary, has faced discomfort along the way. They didn't avoid it. They didn't let it stop them. They walked straight into it, knowing that on the other side their life would be transformed. Whether it was the discomfort of getting out of bed early to build a business, the discomfort of pushing through the grind when everyone else gave up, or the discomfort of facing their fears head-on, each of these moments was a necessary part of their journey. What you need to realize is that discomfort is not a punishment. It is not an obstacle standing in your way. It is the process through which your potential is unlocked. Your mind, your body and your spirit all require challenges to grow. Think of discomfort as the fertilizer for your personal growth. Without it, you cannot grow. Without it, you stay stagnant. The truth is, we all want the rewards of growth, but few are willing to walk through the fire to get them. So what's the answer? How do you learn to embrace discomfort? It starts with a shift in mindset. The next time you feel that uncomfortable feeling rising within you, instead of running from it, try leaning into it. When you feel the resistance, when your mind starts telling you to quit, that's the moment to dig deeper. That's the moment to push harder. That's when you need to remind yourself, this is the path to my growth. This is where the magic happens. You don't have to enjoy the discomfort. You don't have to love the pain, but you must learn to see it as an essential part of your journey. Growth is never painless. It's never easy, but it is always worth it. The discomfort you face now is the foundation of the life you want to build. It's the price you pay for the strength, wisdom and resilience you seek. And don't make the mistake of thinking that growth happens in a straight line. It doesn't. Growth is messy. It's full of setbacks, failures and moments of doubt. But each setback is a lesson. Each failure is a stepping stone. Every single time you get back up, you are moving closer to the person you are meant to be. Let's talk about how you can actually begin to embrace discomfort. Start by recognizing that it's inevitable. If you want to move forward, you must encounter discomfort. No matter what you're trying to achieve, whether it's personal development, success in your career, or building meaningful relationships, discomfort will come knocking at your door. It's a guarantee. So rather than avoiding it, begin to prepare yourself for it. Expect it, welcome it, and let it fuel you. The next step is to reframe your relationship with discomfort. Instead of seeing it as a signal to stop, view it as a signal to go. Discomfort is simply your body telling you that you're about to grow. When you start thinking this way, discomfort becomes a sign of progress, not failure. It becomes a reminder that you are on the right track. Embrace it, don't fight it. It's also important to take small steps. You don't have to conquer all your discomforts in one go. Every small act of bravery, every tiny decision to face discomfort adds up over time. It builds your tolerance, it builds your strength, and it prepares you for bigger challenges. These small actions, taken consistently, will transform you. You will go from someone who avoids discomfort to someone who actively seeks it out, knowing that it's the path to your greatest self. The final piece of embracing discomfort is to surround yourself with reminders of why you're doing this. Find people, stories and experiences that inspire you to push through when things get tough. Connect with people who have faced their own discomfort and come out stronger on the other side. Let their stories be the proof that discomfort leads to greatness. Remember, discomfort is not a roadblock. It is the path itself. It's the fire that forges the strongest metals. And when you learn to embrace it, when you learn to welcome the challenges and obstacles that come your way, you will step into your greatness. You will step into a life that is richer, more fulfilling, and full of possibility. So the next time discomfort shows up at your door, don't run. Open it wide and welcome it in. Know that you are about to become something stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you were before. Because growth, real growth, only happens when you embrace the discomfort of the journey. Chapter 11. Harness the power of daily reflection and gratitude. What if I told you that the secret to unlocking a better life isn't found in more ambition, more goals, or more hustle? What if the key to a deeper, more fulfilling life is found in simply taking a moment every single day to reflect on where you've been and to give thanks for what you already have? It sounds so simple, yet so many of us overlook this powerful practice, and in doing so, we miss out on the transformation it can bring. The truth is, we live in a world obsessed with doing, achieving, and moving forward. It's easy to get caught in the cycle of constant striving, always focused on what's next. But here's the paradox. The more we chase the future, the less we appreciate the present. We forget to pause, to breathe, to appreciate what we've already accomplished, and to recognize the blessings that surround us. And it's in this constant rush that we lose sight of the one thing that can truly change everything: daily reflection and gratitude. Let me paint a picture for you. Every day you wake up, your mind is flooded with 1,000 thoughts, concerns, and tasks. Your to-do list is a mile long. Your goals are waiting to be tackled, and you're already thinking about what you need to do tomorrow. But here's the thing: if you don't take a moment to hit pause, to step back and reflect on the blessings, the progress, and the lessons of today, you'll never truly experience the growth you're working so hard for. You will remain trapped in a cycle of doing without being. You will achieve more, but feel less. Now, imagine for a moment, starting each day with a deep, intentional moment of reflection and gratitude. What would it feel like to take just 5 minutes to look back on your day and acknowledge everything that went well? To give yourself credit for the victories, big or small, to recognize the people who supported you and the lessons that challenged you. Imagine taking that same time to express gratitude for the things you may have taken for granted: the roof over your head, the food on your table, the health you've been blessed with, the opportunities you've had. What would happen if you made this a daily habit? I'm not talking about a simple checklist or a generic list of things you're grateful for. I'm talking about truly sinking into the emotion of gratitude. The deep, heart-centered acknowledgement that you are living a life filled with blessings, challenges, and opportunities that many others might only dream of. When you take time to reflect on the good in your life, when you stop long enough to really feel the gratitude for what you have, something incredible happens. You shift your energy, you shift your mindset, and you shift your life. Let's talk about the science behind it. Daily reflection and gratitude don't just feel good, they actually change your brain. Studies have shown that practicing gratitude activates the part of your brain responsible for feelings of joy, motivation, and connection. It literally rewires your brain to focus on abundance rather than scarcity. When you reflect on your day, you're training your mind to see the positive. You're conditioning yourself to focus on what's going well instead of obsessing over what's wrong. Now, think about how that might affect your life. Imagine that every day you start with a sense of peace and appreciation, rather than stress and overwhelm. You might still face challenges, but your approach to them would be different. You would meet obstacles with a mindset of possibility, knowing that no matter how tough things get, you have things to be grateful for. This simple practice of reflection and gratitude gives you perspective. It grounds you in the present moment and pulls you out of the negative spiral that often holds us back. But here's the catch: it's not enough to just reflect passively. This is an active practice. To truly harness the power of daily reflection, you need to dig deep. Ask yourself powerful questions like, what went well today? What did I learn from today's challenges? What am I grateful for that I often take for granted? Don't just skim the surface, go deeper. Recognize the small wins, the quiet victories, the things that might seem insignificant but are actually building the foundation of your success. Gratitude isn't just about the obvious. It's about recognizing the hidden gifts, the lessons disguised as challenges, and the blessings that often get overlooked. For example, when you're faced with a setback, it might feel frustrating, but can you find something to be grateful for in that experience? Maybe it taught you resilience. Maybe it made you reevaluate your approach or forced you to grow in ways you didn't expect. In fact, learning to embrace the discomfort, the failures, and the obstacles through the lens of gratitude can completely transform your perspective. Instead of seeing them as setbacks, you start to see them as opportunities. You realize that everything, both the good and the bad, is part of your journey, and the more you reflect on this, the more you begin to understand that every experience has value. What about when it comes to your goals? We often think that once we achieve something, we'll be happy, fulfilled, or content. But if we don't take the time to reflect on our progress along the way, we miss the satisfaction of the journey itself. We are too focused on the next milestone to enjoy the fruits of our labor. By regularly reflecting on your progress, you give yourself permission to celebrate where you are, rather than constantly focusing on where you think you should be. When you incorporate gratitude into this practice, it becomes a powerful combination. You're not just acknowledging your progress, you're also showing appreciation for yourself, for the effort you've put in, and for the growth you've experienced. You're recognizing the courage it took to take risks, the discipline it took to keep going, and the strength it took to overcome obstacles. And this isn't just about looking backward. Reflection and gratitude also fuel your forward momentum. When you reflect on your accomplishments, no matter how small, you are building momentum. You're giving yourself the fuel to keep going. It's like filling your tank with positive energy, which keeps you moving toward your goals with renewed passion and purpose. But what if you're going through a tough time right now? What if it feels like nothing is going right? What if the weight of the world is pressing down on you? This is exactly when the power of gratitude becomes most transformative. It's easy to be grateful when things are going well, but it's during the tough times when gratitude has the potential to shift everything. By forcing yourself to find the silver linings, you shift your energy from despair to hope. You move from victimhood to empowerment, and when you do that, you start to realize that no matter how difficult your circumstances, you are in control of your mindset, your response, and your future. So how do you begin? Start small. Take 5 minutes every morning or every night to reflect. Don't rush through it. Let it be a sacred moment of peace, where you honor your journey and express gratitude for everything that has brought you to this point. And remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's about consistency. It's about making this practice a part of your daily life, no matter how small the moment may seem. And as you build this habit, notice how your life begins to shift. You'll feel more present, more at peace, and more aligned with the person you are becoming. You'll notice that your mindset shifts from scarcity to abundance, from frustration to gratitude, and from doubt to belief. Here's the final truth. The most successful people aren't just those who achieve big goals. They're the ones who can find gratitude in the little things, who can pause to reflect on their progress, and who understand that life is a series of moments that, when fully appreciated, create a truly remarkable journey. So, if you want to unlock a better, more fulfilling life, start today. Take a moment to reflect. Take a moment to be grateful and watch as it transforms your life from the inside out. Because the truth is, the life you're searching for is already here, right in front of you. All it takes is a little reflection and a lot of gratitude. Chapter 12. Develop emotional control to handle pressure and challenges. You've felt it before. The weight of pressure pushing you down, the sting of frustration building as challenges pile on. In those moments, it can feel like everything is out of your control, like the storm inside your mind is more powerful than anything on the outside. But what if I told you that there's a way to turn that pressure into your greatest ally? What if you could transform your emotional response to life's most intense moments into calm, focused strength? The difference between those who thrive under pressure and those who crumble is not talent, luck, or resources. It's emotional control. Emotional control is the secret weapon that allows high performers to face challenges head-on without getting derailed by stress, fear, or frustration. It's the ability to remain composed when everything around you is chaos, to make decisions based on logic and clarity instead of knee-jerk reactions. And while it's something we often overlook, emotional control is one of the most powerful tools you can develop in your life. Imagine for a moment you're facing a huge deadline at work, a difficult conversation with a loved one, or a high-stakes situation in your personal life. The old version of yourself would have been swept away by panic, maybe even anger, emotions clouding your judgment. But now you've learned to breathe deeply, to stay grounded, to think clearly. In that moment, you respond with wisdom, not emotion. You take control of your mind and direct your actions with purpose. The storm may still be raging around you, but inside, you're calm and in control. That's the power of emotional control. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that emotions are something we can't control, that they're just a natural part of life. And while it's true that we all experience emotions, we often forget that we have the power to manage them. Emotions themselves aren't bad. They're signals telling us what we care about, what's important to us, and what's at stake. But if we don't learn to control how we respond to those emotions, they can take over our lives. You've experienced it. You've had moments where frustration took over, where fear paralyzed you, where anxiety drained your energy. But in those moments, it wasn't the emotion itself that held you back. It was the lack of emotional control. It's not about denying your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about being able to step back, to detach yourself from them, and to decide how you want to respond, rather than letting the emotion control you. Emotional control isn't something that happens overnight. It's a skill that takes time to develop. But it's one of the most powerful habits you can cultivate, and it starts with awareness. The first step in developing emotional control is recognizing when you're being emotionally triggered. Think back to a recent stressful situation. What was your initial emotional response? Did you feel panic, anger, frustration, or something else? The key to emotional control is realizing that these initial reactions are not facts. They are temporary feelings that will pass if you allow them to. Once you're aware of your emotional triggers, the next step is to create space between the trigger and your reaction. When you feel that emotional surge rising up, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath, and then ask yourself, is this the response I want to have? That simple pause is incredibly powerful. It gives you the chance to choose a response that is aligned with your values, your goals, and your long-term vision, rather than reacting impulsively. Let me share a powerful example from my own life. A few years ago, I found myself in a situation where I was facing a massive challenge. Everything seemed to be going wrong, and I felt completely overwhelmed. The pressure was mounting, and my emotions were taking over. But then I remembered something important. I have the power to control how I respond. I took a moment to step back, to breathe, and to assess the situation from a place of calm rather than panic. I realized that while the circumstances weren't ideal, my emotional response to them was entirely within my control. From that moment on, I focused on what I could control, my actions, my thoughts, my mindset, and I was able to navigate the challenge with clarity and purpose. Emotional control is about focusing on what you can control, not on what you can't. It's easy to get caught up in frustration over things that are outside your influence, but that's a trap. You can't control other people's actions, the outcome of a situation, or the circumstances that life throws your way. But you can control your thoughts, your attitude, and how you respond. And when you focus on those things, you regain power. One of the most powerful tools for emotional control is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment, without judgment. When you're mindful, you're able to observe your emotions without becoming consumed by them. Instead of getting swept up in anger or fear, you can simply notice those emotions and let them pass. This ability to detach from your emotions is what allows you to respond from a place of strength, not weakness. Another critical aspect of emotional control is managing your expectations. Often we get frustrated or anxious because we expect things to go perfectly, or we expect other people to behave the way we want them to. But life doesn't work that way. Things go wrong. People disappoint us. Challenges arise. The key is to stop expecting life to be easy, and instead embrace the challenges as part of the process. When you accept that life will have ups and downs, you're able to navigate those moments with greater resilience. You don't let a setback throw you off course. You use it as fuel to keep going. It's also important to remember that emotional control doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. You are allowed to feel. You're allowed to be angry, sad, frustrated, or anxious. What emotional control does is help you process those feelings in a healthy way, without letting them dictate your actions. It's about being able to feel your emotions, acknowledge them, and then choose to move forward with a clear, composed mindset. A crucial element of developing emotional control is self-compassion. When you're under pressure, it's easy to be hard on yourself. You might think you should be doing better, or that you're not handling things as well as you should. But self-criticism only adds more emotional weight. Instead, practice kindness toward yourself. Recognize that you're doing the best you can with the tools you have. When you treat yourself with compassion, you create the emotional space to handle challenges with grace and strength. As you begin to cultivate emotional control, remember that this is a practice. Some days will be easier than others, and that's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. The more you practice emotional control, the easier it becomes to handle pressure and challenges with composure and confidence. So I challenge you, the next time you feel the pressure building, the next time life throws a challenge your way, pause, breathe, and remember that you are in control. You are not defined by your emotions, but by your response to them. And when you choose to respond with clarity and purpose, you become unstoppable. It's time to take your power back. It's time to develop emotional control. It's time to handle pressure and challenges with calm, confidence, and strength. Because when you do, nothing can stand in your way. Chapter 13. Strengthen your physical health to support your mindset. If you want to conquer your mind, first you must conquer your body. It's not just a catchy phrase, it's a powerful truth. The mind and body are deeply connected, and one cannot function at its peak potential without the other. Your physical health is the foundation upon which your mindset stands. Without a strong, well-maintained body, your mental strength will falter. You've probably had those days where your mind is full of ideas, goals and dreams, but your body feels sluggish, tired and weak. When your body isn't at its best, your mind struggles to follow suit. You can't think clearly, your focus drifts, and your productivity drops. But when your body is strong, healthy and energized, your mind becomes sharper, your focus improves, and your determination grows. Your physical state affects your emotional and mental state more than you might realize. The key to strengthening your mindset is not simply about thinking positive thoughts or striving for mental clarity. It's about taking care of your body, nourishing it with the right foods, moving it regularly and giving it the rest it needs. These practices create a physical environment where your mind can thrive. Think about the last time you felt physically strong and healthy. Maybe you finished a workout, ate a nutritious meal, or had a good night's sleep. How did you feel afterward? Chances are, your mind was clearer, your confidence was higher, and you felt more capable of tackling whatever came your way. Your body was in a state that supported your mental strength, and it made a world of difference. On the flip side, when you neglect your physical health, skipping workouts, eating junk food, or sacrificing sleep, your mindset suffers. When you're tired, sluggish or unhealthy, your mind is clouded, and it becomes much harder to stay focused, motivated, and resilient. It's easy to lose sight of your goals, to procrastinate, and to feel overwhelmed. Your physical health directly impacts your mental capacity, and without taking care of your body, you're sabotaging your own potential. But what if you could flip that around? What if you could harness the power of physical health to supercharge your mindset? What if you could train your body and mind to work in harmony, creating an unstoppable force within you? The first step in strengthening your physical health is recognizing that your body needs movement. Movement isn't just for fitness, it's for mental clarity, energy and focus. The simple act of moving your body each day, whether through walking, running, strength training, or yoga, has a profound impact on your brain. Exercise stimulates the production of endorphins, the feel-good chemicals that elevate your mood and reduce stress. It improves blood flow to your brain, increasing focus and cognitive function, and perhaps most importantly, it builds the discipline and resilience that will help you push through difficult mental challenges. Exercise is more than just a physical activity, it's a mental training tool. Every time you push yourself to work out, whether it's lifting heavier weights or running a little further, you're not just building physical strength. You're developing mental toughness, the ability to endure discomfort, push through obstacles, and keep going even when things get tough. This mindset carries over into every other area of your life. If you can commit to improving your physical health, you can commit to improving your mindset. But physical health isn't just about exercise, it's also about nutrition. What you put into your body directly affects how you feel, think, and perform. Junk food and processed snacks may offer temporary pleasure, but they leave you feeling sluggish and unfocused. On the other hand, a diet rich in whole foods, lean proteins, healthy fats, and fresh vegetables nourishes both your body and mind. Your brain needs fuel to function properly, and the right nutrients can improve memory, concentration, and overall mental performance. When you eat well, you're not just feeding your body, you're feeding your mind. You're giving yourself the energy to take on challenges with clarity and focus. You're fueling your brain with the nutrients it needs to think critically, solve problems, and make decisions. Your diet plays a huge role in how you feel emotionally too. Healthy foods can stabilize your mood, reduce anxiety, and help you maintain a positive outlook. When you eat for your health, you're setting yourself up for mental and emotional success. Sleep is another critical piece of the puzzle. We all know how it feels to be sleep deprived. It's hard to focus, your energy is low, and your patience is thinner than usual. But sleep is not just about resting your body, it's about restoring your mind. During sleep, your brain processes information, consolidates memories, and recharges. Without adequate sleep, your ability to think clearly, make decisions, and regulate emotions diminishes. A well-rested body and mind are essential for peak performance in every area of life. Think of sleep as the reset button for your mind. After a good night's rest, you wake up with a clearer perspective, more energy, and better decision-making abilities. It's no wonder that top performers in every field prioritize sleep. They know that without it, their productivity and focus will suffer. So, if you want to strengthen your physical health and support your mindset, make sleep a priority. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night, to give your body and brain the time they need to recharge and perform at their best. Stress management is also key when it comes to supporting your physical and mental health. Chronic stress takes a toll on both your body and mind, leading to burnout, fatigue, and anxiety. But there are ways to manage stress that support your health. Practices like meditation, mindfulness, and deep breathing exercises can help calm your nervous system, lower cortisol levels, and reduce the negative effects of stress. Taking time each day to check in with yourself, reflect on your emotions, and practice relaxation techniques can help you stay grounded and focused, even in the face of pressure. Strengthening your physical health doesn't just benefit your body, it strengthens your entire being. It enhances your mindset, your mood, your productivity, and your ability to face challenges with confidence and resilience. When you take care of your body, you're sending a powerful message to yourself. You're worth the investment, you're capable of more. And when your body and mind are aligned, there's no limit to what you can achieve. But here's the truth, you can't wait for the perfect moment to start. If you want to unlock your full potential, you have to make the decision now. Take the first step toward better physical health, and watch how it transforms your mindset. Start small, take a walk today, eat a healthier meal, prioritize your sleep, and build from there. As you strengthen your body, your mind will follow suit, and together you'll become unstoppable. Your body is the vessel that carries you through life. Treat it with the care it deserves, and it will support your every step toward greatness. So, what are you waiting for? Start now. Chapter 14. Set clear intentions to direct your energy and focus. You've been scattered, overwhelmed, and running in circles, haven't you? It feels like you're constantly putting out fires, but never really getting ahead. You know you have potential, yet somehow you're not tapping into it. What if I told you the reason you're stuck is because your energy isn't being channeled in the right direction? You're putting your focus everywhere but where it matters most. Now is the time to change that. To set clear intentions that will guide every ounce of your energy toward a singular purpose, a singular goal, and transform everything for you. Intentions are far more than just wishful thinking. They are the compass that will guide your every action, thought, and decision. When you set clear intentions, you create a roadmap that directs all of your energy toward a defined purpose. Without them, your energy is fragmented, scattered in a million directions, leaving you exhausted and unproductive. But when you harness the power of intentional living, you unlock a force that drives you with unwavering clarity and focus. Think about the most successful people you know. What do they all have in common? They don't just work hard, they work with purpose. They know exactly what they want, and their energy is relentlessly directed toward achieving it. From the moment they wake up, Their day is filled with intentional actions that serve a higher purpose. They're not just reacting to life, they're creating it. Their intentions shape their reality, and they live with the power of focus and precision. The difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't often boils down to one simple thing: clarity of intention. The people who succeed have a clear vision of where they want to go and a firm intention to make that vision a reality. They aren't distracted by the noise of life or the temptations that derail most people. Instead, they use the power of intention to remain steadfast, even in the face of setbacks or challenges. The world becomes a place of infinite possibility when you decide where to direct your energy. Intentions are not just about the what, they're about the how. Setting a clear intention means that you take control of your actions and align them with your goals. It's about deciding who you are going to be, not just what you are going to do. When your intention is rooted in a clear vision of the future, it gives you the strength to stay on track, no matter what obstacles come your way. And here's the best part: when you set an intention, it's like planting a seed. You don't see immediate results, but as you consistently nurture that intention with focused effort and determination, it grows. What was once a vague idea in your mind becomes a tangible reality. This power isn't just available to a select few, it's available to anyone willing to set clear, purposeful intentions. You have the ability to take control of your life right now, but it requires action. You can't afford to be passive or wait for the perfect opportunity to arrive. It starts with deciding what you want and why you want it. Once you've identified that, you can break down the steps required to make it happen. It's not enough to say, "I want to be successful." That's vague. It's not enough to say, "I want to be healthy." That's general. You need specifics. You need to define exactly what success looks like for you, exactly what health means for you, and then set an intention to go after it. The clearer your intention, the more powerful your focus becomes. When you are clear on what you want, your actions follow suit. Every decision you make, every step you take, becomes a deliberate movement toward your goal. There is no more second guessing, no more wasting time. You will know exactly what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. And in that clarity, the magic happens. The momentum builds. You'll start seeing results, and those results will feed back into your drive, propelling you forward in ways you never imagined. It's time to stop allowing life to happen to you. You have the power to shape your own destiny. But that begins with clear intentions. It's about understanding your deepest desires and turning them into actionable goals. The problem most people face is they have no real direction. They have dreams, yes, but no clear path to achieving them. That's where intention comes in. Intention gives you direction. It cuts through the noise and tells you exactly where to place your energy. But here's the catch. Intentions alone are not enough. They must be backed by action. Intentions without action are simply daydreams. It's like building a house without laying the foundation. You may have the vision, but without the right steps to bring that vision to life, it will remain just a dream. That's why setting clear intentions is only half the equation. The real power comes from the daily, consistent effort you put into making those intentions a reality. When you back your intentions with action, that's when you create true momentum. It's also important to realize that setting intentions is not a one-time event. It's a practice, a habit. Every day you need to wake up with a renewed sense of purpose. You need to remind yourself of your intentions and focus your energy on them. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but it does mean that you need to stay committed. It's about consistently refocusing your mind, your energy, and your actions toward your goals. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Over time, setting clear intentions becomes second nature. Your energy flows more effortlessly toward your goals, and you begin to see the results in every aspect of your life. The distractions fade, the doubts diminish, and your confidence skyrockets. You start achieving things you once thought were impossible. Why? Because you've tapped into a power that's always been there, waiting for you to access it. The power of focused, intentional energy. So how do you begin? It starts with a simple but powerful question: what do I want? It's not just about what you think you should want, or what others think you should want. It's about identifying your true desires, the things that set your soul on fire. What is it that you truly want to create in your life? When you answer that question with clarity and purpose, you are already taking the first step towards setting a clear intention. Once you've identified your goal, break it down. What are the specific actions required to achieve it? What are the daily habits that will lead you to success? The more specific you are, the more powerful your intention becomes. And then take action. Every single day take steps toward your goal, no matter how small. With each step you are reaffirming your commitment to your intention. And as you continue to do this, the momentum will build, and your goals will slowly but surely come to fruition. Remember, life is not about waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. The time to set clear intentions is right now. Your energy is precious, and how you choose to direct it will determine the course of your life. So stop waiting for life to happen to you. Decide what you want, set your intention, and take action. The future you've always dreamed of is waiting for you, and it all begins with the power of clear intention. So let's get started. Right now, make the decision to live with purpose, set your intention, and begin taking action. Your future self will thank you for it. Chapter 15. Take bold actions that inspire progress and breakthroughs. You're standing at the edge, aren't you? You know what it feels like, hesitating, stuck between where you are now and where you want to be. You can feel the weight of possibility pulling at you, but there's something holding you back. Something inside you that's unsure, uncertain, and afraid. But let me tell you this: bold actions are the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Right now, you're waiting for something, some perfect moment, some ideal circumstance. But the truth is, that moment doesn't exist. The only moment that matters is this one, and the only thing that will propel you forward is your ability to take bold action now. You've heard the saying, the biggest risk is not taking any risk. It's true. But what does bold action really look like? It's not the absence of fear. It's not about waiting until everything is perfect. Bold action is about stepping into the unknown with courage, trusting that the steps you take will lead to the growth, progress, and breakthroughs you need. It's about making the decision to move even when you feel unprepared, uncertain, or even scared. Bold action is the fuel for transformation. It's what creates the momentum to push you past your comfort zone, past the doubts, past the limits you've set for yourself. Let's be honest. Most people never make it because they don't take bold action. They sit, they think, they plan, but they never actually move. And you know what happens when you don't move. You stagnate, you lose time, you miss opportunities. The fear of failure paralyzes them, and as a result, they never experience the breakthroughs they could have had. But this is where you're different. You're ready to take action. You're ready to stop waiting and start doing. You're going to take that leap of faith, not because everything is clear, but because you know deep down that there is no other way forward. The thing about bold action is that it doesn't need to be a huge life-changing move all at once. In fact, it often starts with small intentional steps. It's about committing to action even when you don't have all the answers. You don't need to know every detail, you just need to start. Whether it's sending that email, making that phone call, writing that first page, or signing up for that class, it all begins with a single decision to act. And here's what's incredible: once you make that move, you unlock a new level of energy, clarity, and purpose. You can feel the momentum building. What once seemed impossible suddenly becomes achievable. That's the power of taking bold action. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Taking bold action can feel terrifying. You're stepping into the unknown, and there's always a chance that things might not go as planned. But here's the thing you need to remember: it's not the failure that defines you, it's your willingness to try, your ability to get back up when things don't go right. It's about developing the kind of resilience that allows you to learn from mistakes, to course correct, and to continue moving forward. Bold actions aren't perfect, but they are always progress. Even if you fall forward. You gather new insights, build stronger resolve, and get better with each step you take. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Soon what once felt like bold moves will become second nature. Taking bold action is also about breaking through the mental barriers that hold you back. The lies you've told yourself, the stories you've been living, the what-ifs that paralyze you. These barriers don't exist in reality. They exist only in your mind. The truth is, most of the things you fear aren't as dangerous as you think. Most of the obstacles you see are just illusions. When you act boldly, you break free from those illusions. You stop allowing fear to control you. You start to see the world not as a series of risks and dangers, but as a field of opportunities ready to be seized. And let's talk about progress. Progress isn't about making huge leaps every day. It's about consistent, deliberate action. It's about taking steps, no matter how small, in the right direction. Every bold step you take adds to the momentum you need to push forward. This is how breakthroughs happen, not all at once, but through a series of steps, each building on the one before. Imagine a stone carving. It's not the single strike that shapes the stone. It's the series of focused strikes over time that creates the masterpiece. Your breakthrough will come when you continue to take action, even when it feels slow or tedious. It's the consistency of your bold actions that compounds and creates monumental change. Here's the thing about breakthroughs: they don't happen when you're comfortable. They don't happen when you're sitting in the safety of your routine. Breakthroughs happen when you're willing to break through your comfort zone, when you push yourself beyond what you thought was possible, when you take action even when it feels risky, when you stop waiting for permission or a perfect moment. Breakthroughs happen when you're willing to take that next step, no matter how terrifying it may seem. So, let's address a common misconception. Bold action doesn't mean reckless action. It doesn't mean charging in blindly without thinking. Bold action is grounded in purpose, clarity, and a strong sense of direction. It's about being deliberate in your decisions, but fearless in taking action. It's about trusting yourself and your ability to figure things out as you go. It's about knowing that you are capable, even if you don't have all the answers yet. Bold action requires faith, not in the circumstances or the outcome, but in yourself. When you start to take bold actions, you begin to notice something incredible happening. You start to change. You begin to grow into the person you were always meant to be. The person who takes risks, who challenges the status quo, who doesn't wait for things to happen, but makes them happen. The more you act boldly, the more you prove to yourself that you are capable of greatness. And the more you prove it to yourself, the more unstoppable you become. You begin to see the world differently. Where others see challenges, you see opportunities. Where others see failure, you see lessons. And as you continue to take bold actions, you become someone who doesn't just dream of success, but actively creates it. It all starts with one bold step. That's it, one decision to move, even when the path ahead is unclear. One decision to trust yourself, even when fear tries to hold you back. One decision to stop doubting and start doing. That's where the transformation begins. If you want to break free from where you are and step into the life you deserve, it's time to take bold actions. No more waiting. No more excuses. The future you want is right there in front of you, waiting to be claimed, but it won't come to you on its own. It's up to you to take that first step, to take bold actions that will propel you forward. So what are you waiting for? The time is now. Make that move, take that risk, and start creating the breakthrough you've been waiting for.